Hello and welcome back to our series on the Ottoman Sultans. Today, we're diving into the story of a ruler who literally pulled an empire back from the brink of annihilation. His name is Mehmed, often called Elebi Mehmed or Mehmed the Restorer. Why the Restorer? Because after one of the most devastating defeats in Ottoman history, he was the one who stitched the fractured empire back together. To understand Mehmed's achievement, we have to go back to the year 1402. His father, Sultan Bayezid I, the Thunderbolt, was defeated and captured by the formidable Central Asian conqueror, Timur, at the Battle of Ankara. This wasn't just a military loss. It was a cataclysm. The Ottoman Empire, which had seemed unstoppable, suddenly shattered. Timur reinstated many of the old Anatolian beyliks, the Turkish principalities that the Ottomans had spent decades conquering. The empire was broken into pieces, and to make matters worse, Bayezid's sons were left to fight over the scraps. This kicked off an 11-year period of brutal civil war known as the Ottoman Interregnum. It was a chaotic free-for-all. Four of Bayezid's sons, Sa, Musa, and our man Mehmed, carved out their own territories and declared themselves sultan. Controlled the European territories, Rumelia from Edirne. Sa held power in Bursa, the old capital. Musa battled in Anatolia, and Mehmed established his base in Amasya. It was brother against brother, a desperate struggle for survival where alliances were made and broken in the blink of an eye. For over a decade, the land was ravaged by constant warfare. Initially the strongest even signed a treaty with the Byzantine Empire, ceding territory just to secure his position against his brothers. The dream of a unified Ottoman state seemed to be dying. The beyliks in Anatolia were reasserting their independence, and the European vassals were watching, waiting to see which way the wind would blow. It was in this crucible of chaos that Mehmed forged his path to the throne. Unlike his brothers who often relied on brute force or short-sighted alliances, Mehmed was a master strategist and a patient diplomat. He played the long game, while his brothers exhausted themselves fighting each other and foreign powers. Mehmed consolidated his power base in central Anatolia. He was methodical. He first defeated his brother Sa and took control of Bursa. Then the fight shifted to Europe. His other brother, Musa, managed to defeat and kill, taking control of the Ottoman territories in the Balkans. But Musa's rule was harsh and he alienated many of his powerful vassals and Christian allies. Seeing his opportunity, Mehmed allied with the very same Byzantine Emperor Manuel to Palaiologos that his brothers had fought against. It was a brilliant move. With Byzantine naval support, Mehmed crossed into Europe and confronted Musa. In 1413, at the Battle of Amerlu in modern-day Serbia, Mehmed's forces were victorious. Musa was captured and executed, and after 11 long years of civil war, Mehmed was the sole, undisputed ruler of the Ottoman lands. The interregnum was finally over. Now, winning the war was one thing, but ruling the peace was a completely different challenge. Mehmed inherited a state that was a shadow of its former self. The administration was in shambles, the treasury was empty, and the provinces, both in Anatolia and the Balkans, were restless. His reign, which lasted only 8 years, wasn't about glorious new conquests. It was about rebuilding, consolidating, and restoring. It was about earning the title the second founder of the Ottoman Empire. His first priority was re-establishing central authority. In Anatolia, many of the beyliks that Timur had restored were still defiant. Mehmed didn't try to conquer them all at once. Instead, he used a mix of diplomacy and targeted military campaigns. He brought the powerful Karamanids to heel, securing his southern flank. He reabsorbed the beyliks of Aydin, Menti, and Germian, making them vassals rather than outright annexing them, a clever way to ensure stability without overstretching his still recovering army. His policy was one of peace and prudence, which he famously called pacifying the land. In the Balkans, his approach was similar. he renewed alliances with Serbia and Wallachia, treating them as respected vassals rather than conquered subjects. He maintained his friendly relationship with the Byzantine emperor, a stark contrast to his predecessors. This period of relative peace allowed the European provinces to recover from the years of war and solidified Ottoman control in the region. He understood that stability was more valuable than new territory at this critical juncture. He was building a foundation, not just an empire. But his reign wasn't entirely without conflict. He faced a very strange and dangerous rebellion led by a man named Sheikh Bedreddin. Bedreddin was a charismatic scholar and mystic who preached a radical, almost communist ideology of shared property and religious syncretism, appealing to disgruntled peasants, nomads, and Christians. Alike, the revolt spread like wildfire across Anatolia and the Balkans. It was a serious threat to the social and political order Mehmed was trying so carefully to restore. Mehmed acted decisively. He sent his forces to crush the rebellion, and Bedreddin was eventually captured and executed in 1420. This event showed that while Mehmed was a man of peace, he would not hesitate to use force too protect the integrity of his state. Another challenge came from a man claiming to be his long-lost brother, Mustafa Elebi, who had disappeared after the Battle of Ankara. This, or false Mustafa, as he's known in Ottoman history, gained the support of the Byzantines and some Anatolian beyliks and launched a bid for the throne. Mehmed managed to defeat him, and Mustafa fled to the Byzantine city of Thessaloniki. Mehmed, ever the diplomat, made a deal with the Byzantine emperor to keep Mustafa imprisoned. In exchange for an annual payment, this neutralized the threat for a time. Mehmed's greatest legacy was the restoration of the Ottoman state itself. He rebuilt the administration, reformed the army, and repopulated cities that had been devastated by war. He was a great patron of art and architecture, commissioning mosques, schools, and bridges. The beautiful Green Mosque complex in Bursa stands today as a testament to the cultural revival that began under his reign. He brought order from chaos, unity from division. In 1421, after a short but incredibly impactful reign of 8 years, Mehmed died, possibly from a stroke suffered while hunting. He had done the impossible. He had taken the shattered remnants of an empire and forged them back into a powerful, unified state. He passed on a stable and revitalized empire to his son, Murad, 2, setting the stage for the next wave of Ottoman expansion, which would ultimately culminate in the conquest of Constantinople. Without Mehmed the Restorer, there would have been no Mehmed the Conqueror. He was the quiet, steady hand that saved the Ottoman dream from becoming a forgotten memory. Thank you so much for watching. The story of Mehmed is a powerful reminder that sometimes the greatest victories aren't won on the battlefield but in the patient, difficult work of rebuilding. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more stories from the annals of history. We'll see you in the next one.